Bram Stoker, famed for his novel Dracula, published in 1897, drew inspiration from Abhartach's legend and the infamous Vlad the Impaler. According to legend, he ruled over his domain with an iron fist. Whispers of his cruelty spread like wildfire through the land, painting him as a fearsome tyrant who reveled in the suffering of others. Within the walls of his stronghold, Abhartach conducted unspeakable experiments and delved into the darkest depths of magic. The dungeons echoed with the anguished cries of those unfortunate enough to cross his path, their suffering serving as fodder for his twisted pursuits. Some spoke of hundreds, others of thousands, who were imprisoned within the depths of his fortress, their fates sealed within its impenetrable walls. But it wasn't just the physical torment inflicted upon his victims that sent shivers down the spines of all who dared to speak his name. Abhartach's unparalleled mastery of the arcane arts saw his dark powers growing with each passing day. In the shadows of his castle, he honed his skills with one overarching purpose: to achieve immortality, even if it meant embracing the life of a vampire, or perhaps he found his goal attainable through transformation into one. The village was rife with tales of sudden disappearances, each whisper adding to the mounting rumors surrounding Abhartach. For decades, the villagers endured severe torment under his rule, their lives overshadowed by fear. Despite their efforts to resist and confront him, their attempts proved futile, resulting in many brave souls perishing in the attempt. Abhartach's unmatched power rendered him invincible, his castle shrouded in eerie whispers as he delved deeper into the arcane arts, mastering magic with an insatiable hunger for knowledge and control. The desperate villagers turned to the village priest and prayed for years that someone would come and save them from that tyrant. A neighboring chieftain by the name of Cathan heard their prayers and decided to help them by appointing the legendary hero Fionn mac Cumhail, known as McCool, for this mission. In the modern legend, which assumes that the tyrant was a dwarf, a fierce battle took place in their first encounter, but our hero, being an expert swordsman, ultimately defeated him. However, in the older version of the legend, the tyrant was eliminated through assassination, where the hero surprised and swiftly eliminated him without engaging in battle. This explains why the tyrant couldn't utilize his magic during this encounter. Abhartach was initially buried in a traditional manner, and people rejoiced at the end of his cruel reign, unaware that his demise marked the beginning of a terrible nightmare. It had not been hours since Abhartach was defeated when the villagers were surprised by strange sounds roaming the streets after midnight, resembling the sound of someone suffocating. The people went out to the streets to investigate the matter, only to find Abhartach breathing with difficulty, appearing extremely thirsty, with a pale, angry face, and moving like a zombie, saying, "Blood, blood." The people panicked and were terrified by what they saw, quickly running to our hero's house, where they told him of the tyrant's return. At first, he did not believe them, but Abhartach quickly followed them to McCool's house. Only then did McCool realize that the rumors were true, and that Abhartach had returned. McCool drew his sword and pushed the crowd away. In a few seconds, he defeated Abhartach for the second time, and this time it was easier. McCool was amazed that Abhartach was so weak this time that he could barely move. Abhartach was buried again the next morning, but our hero was afraid of his return yet again, so he went to the local priest and asked him about what this being was and how he could wake up from death. The priest advised him to ask a wise druid who had lived on one of the hills outside the village long ago. McCool went to where the druid lived and told him what had happened. After hearing the whole story, the druid spoke and said that vampires do not transform during their human lives. Instead, they rise from their graves after death. All those years Abhartach had been trying to transform into a vampire, and he did not know that he had actually succeeded and would transform into one of them after his death. As Mac Cumhail listened to the druid's words, a shiver ran through his body and his blood froze in his veins. When he realized that there was no possible way to defeat the vampire, it struck him like a bolt of lightning. The creature, still unfed, resembled a hungry animal, its potential for destruction looming large. Though Mac Cumhail could temporarily lull it into a slumber, once it fed, it would awaken with all its memories, magical prowess, and vampiric abilities fully restored, transforming into a formidable adversary. With each passing moment of thirst, its frenzy intensified, making it even deadlier. The grim reality dawned on him. The only lasting solution lay in sealing the vampire away in a tomb, ensuring it could never harm another soul for eternity. The druid instructed Makul to use a sword made of yew wood and bury him upside down. This was the sole method to ward off the creature. Meanwhile, as darkness cloaked the village, Abhartach stirred from his slumber in the cemetery. His thirst surged, his strength intensified, and his ferocity grew. Throughout the night, he prowled the streets in search of prey. However, the vigilant villagers had fortified their homes, locking doors and windows tight. Thus, the creature wandered aimlessly through the deserted village until the break of dawn. The following morning, as Makul arrived in the village, the anxious villagers informed him of the vampire's return. Makul reassured them, vowing that tonight would mark the end of the ordeal. Makul got ready and rode his horse toward the only place where the vampire could hide from the light of the day, his cemetery. He waited in the cemetery as night fell, anticipating the vampire's emergence. The rain began to pour, and the wind started to blow. A few hours later, the vampire emerged, described as a mindless creature driven solely by thirst. His human faculties faded, leaving him a frenzied savage, unable to utter a single word. Makul, without hesitation, sprang into action, charging forward and landing his first blow. To his amazement, his wooden sword proved more effective than its metallic counterpart, striking the vampire with unexpected force. After a fierce and intense battle, the vampire finally collapsed at Makul's feet. Following the guidance of the druid, Makul wasted no time. In the field of Slag Taverdy lay Abhartach's grave, known locally as the Giant's Grave. A massive rock, flanked by two smaller stones beneath a gnarled hawthorn, marked the resting place of the legendary figure. Yet the legend held a chilling truth. Abhartach was not truly dead. What if they hadn't sealed him away? What if he had been fed? What if someone had already freed him from his earthly prison? Regardless, the only way to confirm the legend's veracity is by lifting that rock. However, neither I nor you would dare, right? For we know deep down that some legends are best left undisturbed, lest they unleash horrors upon the world once more.